Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're reacting to top 10 Dragon Ball Z games, and if you didn't know, my favorite one was pretty much, what was it? Budokai 3. I mean, I know a lot of people like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but, I mean, I like Budokai 3 better. It just felt more, like, fun to me.
Originally published in Weekly Shonen Jump, a long-running manga anthology, all the way back in 1984, Dragon Ball has grown from those humble roots to truly dizzying heights as one of the most legendary and landmark franchises of all time.
Yeah, I think one of the worst ones was Saga's. That was trash.
Dragon Ball Dragon Daikyo was the first game that started it all for the Dragon Ball series. Released in 1986 for the Super Cassette Vision, it stands as the very first Dragon Ball game and, incidentally, the only one that had no involvement with Namco. What it did have, though, was a hectic on-your-toes shoot-'em-up experience to offer in which Goku hovered at the bottom of your screen, blasting enemies with Kai assaults. Think 1982 if, instead of a plane, you were a superhuman riding a cloud hurling balls of energy. As an experience, it doesn't really stand up to some of the more refined modern gems on this list, hence its relatively poor stature on this list, but based off its legacy alone, we thought we'd add it. The first Dragon Ball game by developer Dimps, who would come to be very familiar with Goku and pals over the years with many more titles. Alongside kicking off the acclaimed Budokai series, Budokai was one of the first Dragon Ball games to be released in America and rapidly became a top-tier PlayStation 2 title. This was thanks to Dragon Ball fans being depraved of wanting more than just the anime to satisfy their needs. What If episodes provided a look into events if they had taken a drastically different turn for a clever bit of fan pandering, and cel-shaded cutscenes gave it a distinct, unique look. Though this item isn't particularly high on this list because in terms of gameplay it really offers nothing comparatively special to the rest, it definitely holds a special place in the hearts of many Western Dragon Ball fans as the first in a line of many fighting games. Taking a note from arcade classics such as Streets of Rage, Dragon Ball GT Transformation is an old-school side-scrolling beat-em-up based off the first saga of the Dragon Ball GT series. The fun in this game lies in the fact that it makes proper use of its time period to put the actual old-school titles to shame. Speedy, reflexive, and combo-intensive gameplay with appropriate vigor to go hand-in-hand with a superhuman doing battle with countless armadas of robots and other such foes. Though the AI was a little dumb at times, haplessly punching the air as Goku stands a few feet away. We'll forgive them though, as it was incredibly enjoyable to toss them around like ragdolls. It seems unfair to split these two games up. While they both nail their fluid, flashy fighting style characteristics of the series as a whole, they also exemplify well the separate concepts they strive to attain. So why not just mention them together? Raging Blast 1 focuses on a single player experience. If you want an involved storyline that you can truly immerse yourself in for hours on end, the first of the two is your go-to. Raging Blast 2, on the other hand, trades in a more engaging campaign for a much deeper array of customization. Instead of immersing yourself in the world, it allows you to create a little piece of your own. Ultimately, we honestly couldn't decide between these two. They function more as a dynamic duo than they do standalones. They're two sides of the same chai-charged coin, and for that, we love them both. Chronicling Goku's journey from his battle with Piccolo at the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament all the way up to his fateful duel with villainous Frieza, Super Gokaiden 2 is a Japanese exclusive turn-based RPG released in 1995. Those of you that have managed to play a copy will know exactly why it's here though, requiring in-depth knowledge of the series as nearly a price of admittance to scrape the most out of the game's storytelling. Only the most ardent fans will enjoy it to the fullest. Those fans, though, will be in for a true blue turn-based adventure that only improves on all its predecessor's strengths with an immensely fast-paced style. The thing most holding it back is the unfortunate lack of a Western release, meaning if you want to play this, you better learn Japanese or develop the patience of some questionably translated ROMs. Burst Limit was Dragon Ball's first steps into the HD era, and they are by no means uneasy. Fully capitalizing on the newfound graphical capabilities they had at their disposal, Burst Limit features graphics that did justice to the literally explosive action the series has built itself on. A plethora of gorgeous cutscenes and smooth fighting that still holds up well today, 7 years later. It's evident why Burst Limit quickly became a bestseller in Japan and is considered a must-get for Dragon Ball fans. the final installment to Goku's Legacy action RPG series. Boo's Fury added a few key features that put it head and shoulders above its predecessors. Variety. Variety in the form of equipment and stats that let you choose the paths of growth you wish your characters to go down. This diversity in character creation went hand in hand with the usual true-to-series storytelling and engaging top-down combat to create a game that proved a fitting climax to the series, which is impressive considering the villain was an angry pink blob. Probably the best display of versatility in Dragon Ball games and proof that they can be much more than generic fighters. Advanced Adventures takes the intense rib-cracking formula you would expect to see in the series, more prominent games such as Raging Blast and Budokai, and transplants it seamlessly into a side-scroller. Alongside the smooth execution of a feisty platformer, the game also touts one of the most impressively expanded rosters of any game, period. Augmented with just about every character in the game, meaning you can even unlock play as generic grunt enemies, as well as the game's host of main characters and bosses. The replayability and fun potential that lies there alone is noteworthy. Cap it off with an engaging soundtrack that's fun to listen to, even outside the context of the game action, and you're left with a Game Boy Advance classic. Long have Dragon Ball fans waited for the chance to create their own Saiyan to enter the vaunted world in which they adore. Their own personal entry into the annals of Dragon Ball history. Their own personal god amongst men. Crafted from the ground up. Xenoverse finally gave them this luxury. Only, it didn't limit itself to Saiyans. 5 playable races were made available to fans. Saiyans, Earthlings, Namekians, the Majin, and Frieza's people. Each with their own specific strengths and weaknesses, though with a noted bias towards Saiyans as the only ones who had the super ultimate skill. The game further elaborated on the fleshed out character creation system with a bevy of skills. To round off the near MMO feel, an element of exploration was included that made the world feel almost open at times. Xenoverse finally allowed fans to firmly place themselves in the flying, energy-flinging boots of a host of their favorite Dragon Ball characters. Though, let's be honest, nobody chooses Earthlings. Sorry, Krillin. Ask any Dragon Ball fan what the one game in the series that got nearly everything right, that set its premise with pinpoint accuracy and set itself head and shoulders apart from the rest was. Chances are they'll say Budokai Tenkaichi 3. A mind-boggling amount of flashy combos thanks to the staggeringly fleshed out and expansive combat system, all of them looking prettier and more extravagant than the list with the game's gorgeous graphics. The real strength though was its roster. A roster that numbers upwards of 150, with a lot of those available right from the get-go, with enough diversity of fighting styles within them, and good balance across the board that makes you feel like everyone can choose their own unique fighter and go head-to-head in planet-shaking showdowns. This game is the jack of all trades, master of all Dragon Ball games, and it has rightfully earned its place on this list. Besides, what other fighting game do you know has a character called Tambourine that actually manages to be badass? These 10 are but a sample of the many contributions to the gaming libraries of many consoles and platforms that Dragon Ball has made over the years. We've no doubt missed a few of your favorites. Why not take up that old internet tradition of typing in all caps and telling us what we got wrong? Just remember, keep it civil. No need to go all brawly on us. Originally published in
Alright, if you guys like the video, just let me know by liking and subscribing. And if you ask me, I really think Budokai 3 should have been on here. I mean, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is good, but Budokai 3 should have been second. But other than that, I'll see you guys later.